Good morning, class. Today I will be talking about using AI to determine and describe the 7 phases of software implementation. As we all know, our instructions provided us with the initial prompts that we could use to begin our investigation into software implementation. It shows us that even very simple and basic prompts can be the beginning of an educational investigation into the subject. For instance, although we were provided with knowledge that there were 7 key phases associated with software implementation, we could first ask ChatGPT or any AI program to tell us how many phases are associated with software implementation. However, it is important to keep in mind that AI is not perfect and it often makes mistakes. For instance, this morning I asked ChatGPT how many phases are in software implementation, and it only provided me with 6 phases instead of 7. Also, when I started this class and asked what the 7 key phases were, I was provided a list that omitted phase 5, the integration phase, and added an additional phase at the end of evaluation and review. Thus, it is important to keep this in mind when using AI for research. We must always confirm that the information that has been provided is correct. That being said, it is easy to provide a prompt to begin by asking ChatGPT how many phases are in software implementation. Once it provides us with the list of phases, requirement analysis, system design, implementation, testing, integration, deployment, and maintenance and support, we can continue by asking follow-up questions regarding each phase and the subphases that are included in each. As before, it is important to keep in mind that the answers might be incorrect or change each time you ask. For instance, I asked ChatGPT about the subphases for the requirements analysis phase, and the first time I was provided with a list of 10 subphases. The second time I was provided with a list of 16 subphases, and the third time I was provided with a list of 5 subphases. The information was all very similar and overlapped, so we can trust that the general information that is being provided can be trusted. However, the arrangement, specific number of steps, and details should always be scrutinized to ensure that there is accuracy in the answer. AI is not to the level that we can immediately trust every detail of what it tells us, but the general information is accurate. If the AI has not provided enough information, one can always ask for more information and it will provide an expanded prompt on the topic. My research led me to find there are 10 subphases of the requirements analysis phase: stakeholder identification, define project goals and objectives, review existing documentation, define the functional requirements, define the non-functional requirements, prioritize the requirements, conduct a feasibility study, obtain stakeholder approval, set up the traceability matrix, and change management planning. To determine the artifacts associated with the subphase, one can simply ask ChatGPT what those are and it will provide a list. Again, although the list may change from day to day, the general list will remain consistent and generally the changes will be minor items that are sometimes included or excluded based on the algorithm's choices at that time. This is true for all subphases of software implementation, and for the sake of brevity, I will not continue to discuss the list of artifacts for the remaining subphases. Regarding the system design phase, ChatGPT led me to a list of 11 subphases: system architecture, high-level design, low-level design, designing the user interface and user experience, define the security architecture, define the API design and integration, define performance and scalability requirements, define the error handling and logging strategy, create a document and development timeline, risk analysis and mitigation, and review and validate the design. Regarding the implementation or coding phase, ChatGPT led me to a list of 15 subphases: set up the development environment, develop the system components, integrate component and services, database implementation, develop user interfaces, implement business logic, develop unit tests, implement logging and monitoring, version control and code commit, implement security features, set up continuous integration and continuous deployment, optimize the code for performance, create and maintain documentation, test integration, and handle deployment preparation. Regarding the testing phase, ChatGPT led me to a list of 14 subphases: test planning, test case design, unit testing, integration testing, system testing, regression testing, performance testing, security testing, user acceptance testing, compatibility testing, acceptance and compliance testing, error handling and fault tolerance testing, test reporting and documentation, retesting, and validation. Regarding the integration phase, ChatGPT led me to a list of 7 subphases: integration planning, setting up the test environment, module integration, integration testing, defect identification, system verification, documentation, and reporting. Regarding the deployment phase, ChatGPT led me to a list of 15 subphases. Prepare the deployment plan, set up the deployment environment, create and review deployment artifacts, perform final pre-deployment testing, deploy to the staging environment, prepare and run database migrations, perform the final smoke and sanity check, deploy to the production environment, monitor and verify the system health, handle the post-deployment validation, create backups and a rollback plan, notify the stakeholders and users, post-deployment support, update documentation, and review and evaluate the deployment. Regarding the final phase, maintenance and support, ChatGPT led me to a list of 15 subphases. Bug fixing and issue resolution, software updates and patches, performance monitoring and optimization, user support and troubleshooting, incident management and resolution, user feedback collection and analysis, system monitoring and health checks, security maintenance and vulnerability management, database maintenance and optimization, versioning and updates, documentation maintenance, compliance monitoring and maintenance, customer support and knowledge base updates, release management and deployment of updates, end of life, and system decommissioning. And that is the basic use of AI to identify the phases, subphases, and artifacts associated with software implementation. There are no magic tricks. AI can simply be used to quickly summarize information that could be found with traditional research by reading reference materials and searching the internet for additional information. It is a very efficient tool that can be used to quickly learn the basics of a topic and can provide information to specific requests. However, it is important to remember that it is only a tool, and all of the information provided should be critically analyzed to ensure it makes sense. Additional research may be warranted to confirm that the details are correct.